I'm doing okay. I was here yesterday. Yeah. Well, you were probably out for your long lunch. What is it? You got it down to 2 martinis now? Well,
All right, calling to order the City Council regular meeting, Tuesday, March 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Would everyone rise for the invocation given by Dan Zandard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance?
And to the republic with which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and we'll start off first with a presentation from Ms. Sarah Frederick from Rare.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you again for having me again at the council meeting to present on different programs and opportunities that residents have in Eastpointe with the Recreation Authority of Roseville and Eastpointe. Just to give a little brief introduction of who we are basically the fun department of your city and everything. We plan all your fun activities outside of work and outside of school. We enhance your quality of life and we bring the community together. So last meeting I kind of touched on some of our upcoming programs and events, and today I'm actually going to talk about some of our seasonal job opportunities that we have available for the community. So again, as mentioned, we hire around 50 seasonal employees annually, and they range from various spots to park positions or positions at the Rec Authority, helping with our day camp. So I'll kind of touch on each one, go over what the job entails, how much we pay, and what age range we're looking for. So our 4 main seasonal positions are one is our park attendants. Those individuals kind of work at the parks, both Roseville and in Eastpointe. And then we have 3 positions within our summer day camp program. We have our teen counselors, our summer day camp counselors, and then our summer day camp directors. Actually, yesterday was our first day for camp registration. It opened up at 8:30 a.m. and we sold out by 1:30 in the afternoon. And our wait list is, I believe, full as well. So it's a test to say that is a really great program that we offer to the youth here and everything. So we're excited to get that rolling. We just need to get a few more staff members and everything. All right, so first is our park attendant. This is a great job if you love the outdoors and everything. We heavily rely on our staff at the parks to make sure that they are safe, that our patrons there have everything that they need for their rentals, for their park pavilion rentals. They help set up sporting games and everything. We do a lot of softball and baseball games during the summer, so they kind of set the fields up, help the coaches and everything. So it's kind of a various schedule, but we definitely pack you full of hours if you want to work this job. You have to be age 17 or older for this position. It is a Monday through Sunday position. Again, you wouldn't work specifically every day, but we do create a schedule that is pretty full up to 35 hours a week. The times can vary throughout the day between 7 a.m. and probably like mid-afternoon, and then like a closing shift per se. We can definitely work around other schedules if you choose to have another job as well. But basically, we just want someone to, oversee the activities, rentals, park cleanliness, and the general and safety well-being of our patrons. And then this position starts at $14 an hour. Our next position is our summer day camp teen counselor. This is a great position for teens looking to get some experience in the workforce. It's a very low responsibility position where they basically just assist our summer day camp staff in a lot of the logistics of camp. So they kind of help staff set up program or activities and crafts and everything, while the day camp counselors are really working with the kids, because we are a state-licensed program, so we do have to have a 18 plus 1-to-10 ratio with that. So our teen counselors come really in handy when they need to kind of step aside to a different room or a different area to set up those activities. They definitely get to interact with the kids still. They get to go on the field trips and everything. So it's a really fun opportunity for our teens. We started this a couple years ago, and we've had a couple that come back each year and cannot wait to turn 18 so that they can apply to be a day camp counselor. So this is kind of like a training program so that once they do turn 18, they can apply for that counselor position and have a good familiarity with the program in itself. We only do a couple shifts for them per week, about up to 21 hours. They work a schedule from 9 to 4. And then also, again, we do fluctuate those hours and training, or hours and days they work, depending on they have another job and everything. We're super flexible for it. This is a learning position, so we're not super strict on it. It does start at minimum wage for this. And then, but yeah, so ages 16 to 17, great for teens. And then our day camp counselor position, we really strive to look for those recent graduates and college students that are home for the summer. It's a really fun job. A lot of them, we have about 15 staff members that are all around the same age. They've created lifelong friends working with each other. It's just such a fun job, and working with kids is such a rewarding position and everything, because they are the goofiest kids in the world. So they get a lot of laughs and everything throughout the day. So we do pack their work schedule full. They do work a full 40-hour week. This year we are not meeting for the week of 4th of July, so that is kind of like a perk and everything for them, so they don't have to take that time off for their vacations and everything for 4th of July. So typically their schedule within the hours of 7:45 and 5 p.m. We have a kind of a closing, midday, and an end-of-day shift, so they're not closing or opening up every single day. We fluctuate with that, so it's fair for across the board. That starting hourly rate is $13.75 an hour. And again, our day camp counselors are responsible for facilitating the daily activities of camp and the general safety and well-being of our campers. You do have to be 18 and older for this position, and we require that you be 18 by the start day of camp, which would be, believe like June 18th, that Monday. So as long as they're 18 by then, they can apply for this position. And then lastly, our day camp directors. Our day camp directors kind of look over the whole camp itself. We usually hire 2 of those. They are responsible for managing the day camp counselors and the teen counselors, and then report to work with the main office staff on any logistics or any issues that may arise with camp. Again, they do get the 40 hours a week, kind of the same schedule, and then their starting hourly rate is $16 an hour. For this position and everything, we do like to see someone who has experience working with camps or kids, or is kind of just towards the near of their graduation, if they're going into education or any type of like childcare, it's a really good ideal position for them as well. But again, 21 and older for that role. And same thing, as long as they're 21 by the time camp starts. And we don't pick the ages for these, just because we are a state licensed camp. That is what is required of the state of us, is to have the counselors be 18 and older and our directors be 21 and older. And then, so we have applications online on our website that can be sent back to us via email or dropped off in person. We do have hard copies available as well. On our website, under employment opportunities, are the full job descriptions of those positions and more greater detail on it that I didn't cover tonight. But our park attendant positions, those applications are coming up due Sunday, March 17th, and our summer day camp positions, those are due Sunday, March 24th. We look to get those hired in as soon as possible so we can get training dates start. I know our park attendants, they kind of start at the mid-April and everything once things start back up at the parks, which could have been this week because it was 70 degrees. So there was a lot of activity at the park. So, but yes, does anyone have any questions?
Does anyone have questions?
Mr. Mayor, if I could, maybe you could bring this picture back up. See this picture? Did you notice it up there? I am so excited. Look, those smiles are real. No staff member could have taken that and say, "Smile, kids." That is real. Why is it real? Because they're having a great time, and the staff is treating them like their own kids. So thank you so much. I think that's beautiful.
And that was one of I got to go on that field trip. That was at Blake's Cider Mill, and it was an amazing trip. The kids had such a great time. So we're going back again. So, yes.
Okay. Any questions?
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the
Yeah.
We can do that. And we'll move on to roll call.
Councilmember Baker?
Here.
Councilmember Curley.
Here.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Here.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Here.
Councilmember Pashadlik?
And moving on to approval of the agenda, I don't know if everyone saw the email earlier today, so I would be seeking a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of a closed session for pending litigation.
So moved.
Support.
All right, moved in support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Pashadlik?
Yes.
All right, moving on to hearing of the public. The first hearing of the public is open. Would anyone wish to hear?
No, go ahead.
Please.
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Kleinfeld, council members. My name is Gary Sasek, a 70-plus year resident of Eastpointe, chairman of the Parks Commission, and I'm here tonight to inform council, the residents, and anybody that's listening in that the members of the Eastpointe Parks Commission, out of their own pockets, contributed for the purchase of a memorial tree and plaque in honor of Harvey Creech. Harvey really cared about parks in this city, and he was always at meetings, always sharing opinions in that. So we felt that this was something we could do, and again, like I said, we didn't look for donations from people because we did the contributing ourselves. And we've written a letter to his wife requesting where they would like the tree planted and what would be an appropriate day for them to be able to attend, and that would be sometime after May 1st when the tree would be available. The next thing I'd like to address is, for the first time ever last week, we had early voting in the city. And the clerk's office is always stressed during any election cycle. And the staff in that office really, really works hard to keep everything running smoothly so that we balance, the county's happy, everybody's happy. Where it falls short is when people volunteer to work a poll and then they don't show up, they don't call, notify, and everybody's scrambling. More recently, because of the early voting being new this year, I was on the certifying board for early voters. And I worked very closely with Amy and Heather, and those two ladies are just unbelievable. I can't thank them enough for helping walk us through an entirely new process. And everybody, the city needs you to help participate. Election day typically is one day. This year we're going to have 3, but they need workers, they need committed workers. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is John Ugval, and my family owns the building right next to the police station at 16039 East 9 Mile Road. House Arrest Services, the company that my family owns, was there for several years. Before that was Chemtech Land Surveyors, which we still have an office on Gratiot. Our family does, along with Mel Joseph. We were looking to actually sell the building, and we wanted to give the city the first right of refusal. Where our location is, if you're not aware, is the police cars pull right up to where our parking lot is. So we are right next door to them. We haven't brought a realtor in. We don't know what costs, what the value of it would be. I just wanted to know who I needed to speak with, or what I needed to do, or reach out to, or to figure out who would want to buy the building, and the property with it. And so that's what I was here for.
Okay, I think, do we already have the information? Or? Okay.
They asked me to put a number on there, and I did, but again, if people wanted to talk, I put $209,000 for the property and everything, but I just didn't know if, I wanted to speak with someone, I didn't want to email.
Okay, we can't respond right now, but.
Okay, all right, good, and that's, as long as they've got my information's on that email, so they can get a hold of me accordingly. Thank you so much for your service, thank you.
Karen Morajan, Eastpointe resident. Gary, thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and Parks and Recreation. Harvey Creech was a very, very dear friend of mine, and listening to Gary's comments, it was like I was having to fight back tears. I still miss him to this day. I actually hope we can have his family also attend the April 28th council meeting. It'd be a nice way to show support and love to them. Moving on to my public service announcement for this time of the year. It's exasperating, but every year, right before Easter, we have to constantly remind people, do not buy chicks, bunnies, or ducks for Easter. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be in way over your head, and I've done a lot of rescue and shelter work with bunnies, and it pisses me off to no ends that when they reach 2 months of age, people start dumping bunnies all over the place. Some people take them to shelters. Others are idiots. They turn them loose in the parks. They're not wild bunnies. They can't survive in the parks. Rabbits are high-stress animals. They're prey animals. They require an extraordinary amount of work. They are not starter pets. They are not toys. They are not disposable. If you take a rabbit or any animal, you take them for life or you do not take them at all. They are a lifetime commitment. They are family. Rabbits require a special diet, and there are so many people that don't have a clue in what they're feeding them, and they have a GI tract that is hypersensitive. Rabbits cannot vomit. Cats and dogs, if they're not feeling good, they puke it up. Rabbits can't, and you're off and running to the vet. And if your vet's booked up, then you have to haul ass to an emergency vet, or you're gonna end up losing your bunny, because when their GI tract gets clogged up, that can be deadly. I know, 30 seconds, okay. So in vet care, they have to be seen by exotic vets. They also need to be spayed and neutered at the age of 6 months. not spaying and neutering them, they're going to end up with reproductive cancer, and it is heartbreaking. They're very unique, special animals, but please, please do not buy chicks, bunnies, or ducks for Easter. If you want to do it, get a stuffed animal instead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Fahd Ahmed, and I wish I would have listened to your speech before I bought a bunny for my son this morning. But well noted. I'll talk to you later. My name is Fahad. We've spoken with Ms. Hoffman and Mr. McCain in Eastpointe City Manager's office about a year ago. My business partner, Joseph Fadi, and I stopped in and we introduced the City of Eastpointe to the Affordable Housing Initiative. We were looking for a city partner to develop 20 single-family affordable homes. The blueprint is 1,600 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes. We had some discussions last year with the city manager's office with respect to identifying and potentially acquiring some vacant lots for construction. Unfortunately, we did not make a lot of progress in that endeavor with the previous administration, and we ended up pulling our resources to other developments in other cities within Wayne County. And we had an opportunity to approach the city manager's office. Actually, earlier this week, Ms. Hoffman was there, and just saying, hey, we were here about a year ago, and we'd like to know how we can move forward to identify vacant lots and begin on this initiative. Our target is 25 to about 40 single-family homes for calendar year 2024. And we are here today basically to introduce ourselves to the council and to the new mayor and welcome the new administration and let you know that you have viable partners that have a long history of property development and new construction within the state of Michigan and the state of New Jersey. And we're just looking to see if there's any interest and if there's another hand on the other side that's willing to work with us to help us with this initiative. So Ms. Hoffman has our information, and just looking for someone that would be able to communicate with us and help facilitate some dialogue so we can kick off the spring construction season. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mary Hall Rayford, Eastpointe. When I heard you say anyone else, I almost laughed. I'm like, if I'm here, I'll probably have something to say. Anyway, wanted to do a few things. Remind residents that there are 4 seats up for the school board for this year, and encourage all who are interested, really care about kids, to really look at the heart and see if they have room to serve on the school board. Our kids need people who care with integrity and have a value and understanding of principles of education. The other thing is the organization that I belong to, Macomb Health Equity Council, is partnering with Oddfellows right up the street Saturday for a Medicaid enrollment or re-enrollment event, primarily because a number of people lost their coverage during COVID, and we're trying to help people recover their lost health coverage. On another note, perception and perspectives are different based on every individual's experience. This is how they're formed. So we don't always all have the same perception of things. We certainly don't have the same perspective of things. And I think if we tend to remember that, we would probably not be so quick to judge or assume things about another person. We just need to consider what's their perspective, why do they think this way, and have a conversation instead of an argument. And I'd also like to think, I don't know why, but apparently some people seem to think I have a cult following. And so for this month, flavor, Hall Rayford cult flavor is cherry. And we'll get back to you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mr. DeMonico. I'd like to apologize to you for the last council meeting you attended. I should not have spoken out of turn. My apologies, sir. With that, I'm going to read a quote by Mr. DeMonico on Facebook. The job of a legislative board member, city council person, state senator, is to take the facts and opinions from all the stakeholders, residents, city manager, planners, civil engineers, DPW, police chief, fire chief, business owners, etc., and then make a decision as to what is fair for the community. I'd like to know why, after reading this, you did not look at the master plan. Why you did not go to the planning commission, the police fire department, and then by, let's see, public against you at the last hearing on February 6th was totally against what you wanted to do. Police, fire, medical services, and everybody came up and made a statement about that. Yet you still said, in disregarding the public opinion, which is what you should be working on, you went ahead and did what you did. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's been a lot of talk about the mayor's mother being here. Just so everybody knows, she does a good job. My concern with her is that I'm a former MDOT employee. That's Michigan Department of Transportation. And Senator Kleinfeld, as the second-ranking member of the Transportation and Alignment Committee, she's the co-chairman because the Democrats are in control. Mrs. Kleinfeld, under that deal, is the chairman for the local government agencies for the Senate and works with MDOT. She is also the chairman of the Appropriations Committee.
You have 30 seconds.
For the Appropriations Committee for MDOT. She's a chair or co-chair for numerous other things, but the ones I wanted to bring up was MDOT. Most important, because we have that thing outstanding. Have you heard anything about it? I hope so. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank
I mean, good afternoon. Good evening. What am I
Thank you.
supposed to say, Harv?
Would anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to piggyback on that about the road diet. There's been a lot of controversy about that road, and I know it's not completely settled. It's not going to be settled until the construction actually begins. I just wanted to address what I think is a couple of misconceptions about what's happening here. We get a lot of comparisons to Ferndale. We hear a lot of talk about walkability. Well, I don't know that much about it, so I drove over to Ferndale, 9 Mile, and Woodward to see what this is all about, this walkability idea and concept. I get it. It's kind of beautiful over there. People were outside walking around. It was a 65-degree day, but to me it was like comparing apples to oranges. They've got a compact downtown area, about a third of a mile either side of Woodward, hundreds of parking spaces behind those stores. These are people coming from other areas, driving there, getting out of their cars and walking. It's not a 2-mile stretch of road. It's a third of a mile either side of a concentrated downtown. Ironically, the plan that we're talking about doing here, the downtown area, the 9 Mile Gratiot area, it's going to be 5 lanes, a third of a mile either way. We do not shrink that road until we get outside of our supposed downtown area. To what purpose? We don't have the parking. We're not going to be leveling dozens of houses to create parking for people to come here to walk. The concept is flawed. I think you need to revisit it before that concrete starts getting poured. They did it at a road diet at Utica Road, 12 Mile to Gratiot Avenue. I went over and I talked to 5 businesses over there. They said the traffic count is down. It's hurting their businesses. There used to be a real estate office over there, a realtor. It's for sale. It's empty. There's a couple of remodeled storefronts. They're empty, for rent. There's a cute little bakery tea house over there. I talked to the owner. It's for sale. Business is not good. These are the unintended consequences that you'll wind up living with for the next 30 years if you make a mistake. Not that we can't make change. Change is good. That's what everybody says. Well, not always. But you know what? We do have a lot of things here. We're not Ferndale, but we're 5 minutes from Lake St. Clair. You get on that expressway, we're 15 minutes from downtown. We have a lot of potential here. You buy a house here, it's going to cost you half of what a house in Ferndale is going to cost. We've got a lot of good things that we can build upon. I think
You have 30 seconds.
that laying down some cement isn't going to make a big difference. You work on the parks, you work on the school system, you work on a lot of these other things, and you can make Eastpointe anything you want. Laying some concrete is not going to do it for you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, glad to meet you, Mayor. I never met you before, and welcome, Counselor. I have 3 issues. Mayor, this needs to be done. I'm with him. Sidewalk is not going to do it. We have issues about our water, okay? That's what they need to be focusing on. For one, we're using water that we are paying the bill for that, and then we got to go and use filters for it. So what about us taking a bath? What about us using to wash our dishes? What about us that we have to wash with that water? You guys are worried about the sidewalk being done. What are you doing? We giving filters out. Yeah, that's true. But we still got to use our car to come up here and get the filters. We still got to pay the high water bill because we got to run the water to ordinary to use it, and we shouldn't have to pay our water bill because it's the city's fault, not ours. Okay, so the issues that you guys are worried about, the sidewalk, you should be worried about the residents, because without the residents, you're no good. You wouldn't have a job, and putting the filters, giving us filters and giving us the fountains and stuff for it, it's not helping us. It's not helping us because we still got to run the water. We still got to run the water. So our water bill is going to go up because it's the city's fault. So it's something needs to be addressed more than this concrete. Okay? You don't put tons and tons of money in concrete, but you haven't put no money into this lead, the water that we got, lead. And I hope the mayor that was here before, did no one like her. They seen all these defaults against her, but she did what is supposed to be done for Eastpointe. And then second of all, they're not giving tickets out for these people that's putting more garbage into their garbage can, and then it's flying all over on people's yard. Okay, it's getting really ridiculous. And then the third thing, you guys saying that you'll give tickets when you have boats and buses into the yard, and then you got one family or 2 or 3 families got 5 or 6 cars. You're not doing anything about it. You say you'll come and give them the tickets, but you're not. So I just need to be addressed, these things to be addressed, that not the sidewalk. We got to live here. If it wasn't for you guys, you wouldn't have your job.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I ask before you step down, just to state your name?
My name is Flora Williams. I used to be on the committee, and I got off of it.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else wish to be heard?
Hi, my name is Dave. First off, I think it's important to say that it seems like there's a lot of misinformation going on about like where our funds are going and what we are actually spending our money on. And it might be a good idea to appropriate some funds for like public communication to say like, you know, this money's going here, this money's going there, so that we can, you know, our public knows more, comes with more educated opinion on these things. That being said, I sent an email to the chief. I asked him to address the, here's what he said. He said, I've talked to these officers, I've talked to my command staff, and we all agree with the same thing. It's not right. It's not the right thing to do for safety. That's made a lot of residents pretty scared about this whole thing. There's one that I saw online that said people will die if they do not keep the road as it is. That seems a little bit extreme, and I think it's more of that communication that's lacking here with the public to explain that, you know, there are a lot of safety benefits and those things should be included in a public safety decision. And that should be understood, that, you know, less lanes to cross is safer for people. Narrower lanes makes for slower speeds, meaning less injury and death before you ever need to call an officer. This stuff is preemptive, and it can save lives. You reduce curb cuts, and you have less people turning off. You reduce lanes, you have less people changing lanes. These are all things that should be involved in a discussion about the safety of the public, because it's not just cars that use this space. And we can all benefit from what that proposal entails and more, and taking that throughout the city and doing it in our neighborhoods. Road calming has tremendous benefits for people speeding through your neighborhoods and speeding through your main roads and hurting people. One more thing I'd like to say is last week I heard that you were talking about taking some of the city services back under the umbrella of the city. I am all for those types of ideas to bring things back so we can have some oversight over them instead of just having a company tell us, sorry, we got to charge more this week or this year. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay. Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. And we'll move on to approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, February 6, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to receive and file the minutes of the regular meeting of February 6th, 2024.
Support?
Second that.
Okay, please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Bishadley,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
We have no scheduled hearings. Moving on to unfinished business. Item A, discussion on the possible motion, a discussion and possible motion on the social media policy. Would anyone like to open up discussion on this?
Yeah, I had a few concerns. I ran through all three drafts. The first one is the most lengthy, but I believe that there are some things in it that I don't believe we can leave in there. One of which was stating that if whoever does not follow this policy can lead to discipline and discharge, but I know that we have some employees that fall under civil service, which we as a council can't enforce or ask or require them to be discharged or terminated. That doesn't fall under our governance. There's a process even for that. I think that some of the other things that I see, and I'm not quite sure why this came back or what the reason was, but some things seem like it's really bordering on micromanaging. A lot of things that seem to be consistent in all three drafts was that the community engagement officer has pretty much the final say-so on what gets posted. And if that is the case, then I think that if that's the community engagement person's job, then they should be allowed to do that job. I don't believe that we, and I know maybe it's a fine line, but I don't believe that we can really micromanage or nitpick, so to speak, of what they can and can't do, how they do their job. Our job is to give direction to the city manager. I know we give direction to the city attorney for certain things of how we want to move, or we request things to be put in ordinance form by him and so forth. But beyond that, we don't have governance over employees. The first draft spoke of, I don't remember if the terminology was subcommittee, I marked it. I'm curious as how that will work, because if that doesn't fall under anybody's job description, and especially being that we have union employees, are we overstepping our boundaries with requiring that there be a subcommittee? And then I know even further, I believe it was in the third draft, but I would have to go back and look, that we require, or it's asking that whoever, whatever boards or commissions or whoever sets up one of these pages after giving the okay by the community engagement officer, it talks about them monitoring their page and responding, one of which even says that they give their name and job title. And I still think that that kind of falls under the description of micromanaging. If that is what the city manager requires, then so be it. But I think we've got to be real careful with saying what employees have to do. I want to be sure that we don't cross the line with that. So that's just pretty much it in a nutshell. Some of the concerns that I had. Frankly, if it's the community engagement officer's job to, they get the final say, so I say let them do their job. If there's any disciplinary measures that need to be taken, there are guidelines for that. I know we don't enforce that. That would fall under either the city manager or the respective department heads to oversee their departments. And I think that we just have to kind of be careful with putting that language in there, saying that we're requiring certain disciplinary measures when that doesn't fall under our scope.
So I had, when I looked at the social media policies, I think personally there's a lot of issues that go into what we do when we're policing online comments from the city, First Amendment rights and stuff like that, and use of public resources like a digital sign or other issues like that. I don't know if other people received this suggestion. I received an email suggestion actually from Ms. Diebold, who I know was interested in the social media issues, of creating a subcommittee with 2 council members and maybe a couple of community members in administration. I think a policy like this probably requires a lot of discussion that I don't know would go quickly or easily at the table here. Sort of like how we did a committee for the ethics committee or the tax reversion vacant properties. I thought that was a good idea because I think there's a lot that goes into this that probably merits some long discussions. Ms. Hellman, I don't know, I think I mentioned it to you before the meeting. I don't know if you've thought about that or would have a response to what you think about that.
No, I think that is a good suggestion. Getting input from a variety of different, sorry, I have to keep focused because otherwise money
I don't recall, maybe other council members would, the council actually have to vote to create the ethics ordinance committee, or is that just something administration has to work on? If anyone remembers.
For the, we had an ad hoc
Yeah.
committee that just sat down. So, okay, and just clarify for me before I go there. This subcommittee, is this just to say, hey, these are the social media rules that we want to adhere to? Is that was that the idea behind it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is they would work on a draft with administration, kind of go through in detail the concerns, and then pitch it to council. If you guys want to vote this out.
Okay, well then, and that was just my misunderstanding of how I read it, because I thought that in the first draft that it was saying that it wanted a subcommittee that would do more than just create a policy for us to follow. For the most part, the language seemed to be pretty good in it, but there were just a few things that I thought we might have been just overstepping on. Especially when it gets to the disciplinary measures. I know we got union employees, we got civil service employees, so that's where I'm just saying, hey, we have to be careful with that one. As far as a subcommittee to come up with it, I wouldn't have an argument with that. I was on the subcommittee for the ethics board. So we as a council, I think it was two of us, me, you, Carly, and
I was
you,
one
Mike.
of the presidents.
Yeah, but we were all on it, and we just basically voted, said, hey, I would be interested, council voted. So, yeah, if that's what it is, I don't have no problem with that one, but I just think with the disciplinary measures, I think we gotta kind of be careful with that, just to make sure we're not overstepping. And I know that we have to stay within our charter guidelines of how we move, so that was really it.
Mr. Mayor, one quick clarification, Councilman Baker, there's a committee in here that I think was meant to be more permanent, and the mayor is talking about just, the ad hoc committee right now. So I think there's both ideas.
Okay.
Do the ad hoc committee now, the temporary committee now, to suggest all these changes we're talking about, because I agree with you too on the employment issues, that needs to be cleaned up a little bit, and some other things you talked about. Bring that to us, and then the social media committee you're talking about that's mentioned would be something that's permanent, internally, administratively, I think was the idea. Yeah, go on.
So then would the understanding be that they would meet, during work hours, after work hours? I guess I'm just kind of curious or maybe we haven't gotten that far yet.
So my thinking is we create an ad hoc committee so those discussions could be had. And then, because it could turn out there might be a recommendation to scratch that all together, from a final draft, I don't know. Does everyone think that's an okay way to proceed?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I agree with the ad hoc committee. It seems to me there's going to be a lot of, excuse me, there's going to be a lot of research that they're going to have to do. So we're talking about a lot of hours that they're going to have to work. And to answer your question, Councilman Baker, they can decide when they want to meet, I guess. And, they may want to meet during the day or at nighttime, and I guess it would be up to them, whenever they would want to meet. But I support the committee.
Okay. Are there two members who would like to be on the committee?
Just one clarifying point. The reason why I really asked about when they would do it is because I don't know if I know there could be overtime situations. I don't know between union, non-union, how that would work. So that's really where my thinking is like, how does this play out? So that was all. So that's kind of where my thought was going.
So we're talking about two council members, and
That's what I was thinking.
who else would make up the committee?
I thought tonight we would just direct administration to put together a committee with whatever administrators they think should be on it, and then maybe 2 or 3 residents asked to join in on the process. I think that's what we did for the ethics committee. I think there were 2
I think so.
That's correct.
Okay.
I couldn't remember how many, I think it was like 8 of us or something.
It was a while ago. So.
Yeah.
Plus, since I'm retired, I wouldn't care if it was morning, afternoon, or evening. It's not going to interfere with my golf game, so I would volunteer to be one of the 2 board members.
Would anyone else like to be on it? Mr. Monaco?
I thought you were going to volunteer.
No, I think, I'm just gonna ask if anyone else would like to first. No? Well, if we can meet in the evenings, I could be on the committee as well, but, I guess we can work that out later on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, should we do a motion for this, Rich?
Mayor, I'd recommend a motion. Just creating the committee with 2 members of the council, identify which members of the council are going to be on it, and then just directing city administration then to, see what members of the public want to be on there as well. Do we want to have a committee then, a total of 5 individuals, 2 members of council, 2 members of the public, and maybe 1 administrator?
I think that makes sense. All right, I will motion to direct administration to create an ad hoc committee to develop a social media policy comprised of 2 council members, 2 residents, and a representative from administration, and I guess designate myself and Councilman Curley as the ad hoc members from council. And direct administration to, I guess, seek residents interested in working on that committee.
I'll second that.
All right, motion support, please call the roll.
Wait, can I make just one brief statement, about it? I just, and I'll make it brief because I know we're moving along, but I think this document just can be something that like guides us forward. It doesn't need to, I agree with you, Mr. Baker, should certainly not be something that micromanages, but we've had just issues where like the Beautification Commission had a page, then we don't know who was administering it, then they created another one. Now we've got 3 City of Eastpointe Beautification Commission pages. So if we just like have that in writing, we can make sure like that doesn't happen again. But then just make sure, yeah, we're not doing anything that violates the First Amendment and kind of addresses that stuff, and just addresses some other administrative things that I think can help just, move us forward on social media. So, yeah, I guess that's just my high-level 2 cents. And I think, yeah, definitely a committee would be very helpful.
Okay, anything else? Please call the roll.
Mayor
Yes.
Kleinfeld, Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Great, moving on to reports from administration. Item A, city manager's report.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council. We are very pleased to announce that our new administrative services specialist, Brianna Parsons, started Monday. Our new Otis, she's very surprised that she gets cheers whenever she's told that she's the new Otis. We've been waiting a long time for this. She's a delight. She's ready to tackle everything, and I know she's watching from home tonight. February elections, Gary Sasek, thank you. The staff, clerk staff was incredible. The last minute information, even the Friday before Saturday early voting, they were getting in new information. They were incredible in putting together checklists and the balances and everything that is needed. We attended, all the days of early voting and the marking everything, and it was quite something to see the receiving board taking in 37 pages of checklist as opposed to 7 pages for a normal precinct. We had 4,685 votes cast, 155, sadly, were early voting. We want more next time. 3,039 were absentee, and 1,491 people voted at the precincts. The returned absentee ballots was really high at 87%, so that was quite something. If it's all right, if I may, to announce the splash pad.
Yes.
city of Eastpointe applied for, through the state, a splash pad application. We requested 2.5 million, and we, found all kinds of things to get the numbers. That was the highest amount we could apply for. We are so grateful that we got 1.5 million to create a splash pad at Kennedy Park. So it's going to be a very nice splash pad for 1.5 million, and we hope to kick that. They are already going in the requirements, but we're hoping to kick that off and get some great ideas from the community in terms of what features they want to see in that splash pad. Fire Chief, if I may, the fire ladder truck is in Michigan. It has been seen by staff. It has been seen by command. The fire marshal saw it yesterday, so it is here. 3 years almost? 3 years. The truck will be arriving at the fire station on Friday, March 8th at 9:30 a.m. The fire chief has asked that all the elected officials, administrators, and members of the public be present to welcome home. It's a $1.3 million asset that will serve the community for the next 25 years. So they'll be training for about a month, and I think the public will be able to see them out in front of the fire station training on this new ladder truck.
Yes, well, it'll be about a month of solid training. We're gonna be driving it around the city, so everybody gets time behind the wheel and just setting it up, utilizing when people from St. Louis coming in to train our guys on it, and then we'll get all the tools mounted and everything like that. So it's gonna be a little bit of a process, but minimum of a month after we receive it on Friday, before it'll actually be in service and be utilized.
Let's hope it doesn't rain. 9 Mile construction, to clarify, because there's everything going on. Last week, Consumers Power began the installation of the new gas lines on the north side of 9 Mile between Tuscany and I-94. So the northern westbound lane is closed down from St. Clair Shores coming into Tuscany. That's closed down traffic. This week, the water main contractor installing the water main from Gratiot to Tuscany has closed off the 2 eastbound lanes and the turning lane because they are doing crossings. They're installing the pipes that are going to cross from the southern side to the north side streets. There's 12 crossings, and when I drove by yesterday, it looked like they had already done at least 5 or 6, so fingers crossed that that will be done and they can move similarly as they did to the west of Gratiot to the other side. They have been moving very fast. And finally, RARE is involved in a master plan update. They hired a consultant. There are posters up here at City Hall. They're also at the RARE location, but we are hoping that people will comment on what they would like to see in each of the parks. There's little notepads, there's pens there to give an idea, because that will be used by the steering committee and the consultants who are working on the update. And of course, water filters are available. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I actually have a couple questions, if you don't mind. Thank you for the presentation, and I'm so thrilled about the splash pad. You said it's going to be at Kennedy. Do you know whereabouts?
It's going to be very close to where the former pool was, so it'll be at the north side,
Where the
just
skate park is, or?
north of the skate park, I believe, and south of that little parking area. So it'll be up there, and yeah, we're looking forward to, finding different amenities that can be, sent out to the public and see what they'd like to see out there. But the 1.5 million is going to be a really nice splash pad.
Absolutely. I have another question. In our packet, we had, and the reason I'm asking all this at the table is so that everything's transparent, so I hope you don't mind me asking these. There was minutes that were prepared by, on the record recording and video. Is that something, because I've never seen that before in any of the agendas or anything like that, or with the minutes. It was specifically just for the hearing of the public at the February 5th meeting. Is there a reason that was done? I just was
we had added it because it was actually a part of the meeting, and our staff didn't handle covering that, so I put that at the end, just because it had been a part of the public hearing that was on video.
Okay, and was there a cost involved to that transcript as well? I didn't see it in the payment of the bills, but I didn't know.
Yes, there would be a cost, and I don't know yet what that is.
And then, last thing I have is, I would like to request, that the issue of recreational marijuana be placed on the next agenda, if possible. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I'll bring up one other thing. Again, thanks to Rare for coming today and doing that presentation. With the 1.5 million, I know there's been a lot of concerns about, how much Rare invests in necessarily Eastpointe, because we don't see a lot of that hard infrastructure here. They are matching 300,000 of that. So we have 1.8 to work with for the splash pad. So I think people should know that some of those dollars are coming back to do something physically in our parks. So, any questions? Moving on to item B, Finance Director's report, Mr. Blum.
Yes, Mayor and Council. The going and replacement cost for a new ladder truck is $2.2 million. We could flip it, make it $900,000, pay for the rest of the park. They're glaring at me. Okay. Now the only thing I have is you receive in your packets credit card bills, lawyer stuff. There's been resistance in the past, but I'm going to take another run at it. If it would be possible to just scan this and email it instead of wasting piles of paper.
I don't have a problem with that.
Please. Good. I'm seeing a bunch of head nods. We'll do that going forward and save some trees. So that's all I have for this evening.
Were you saying we should buy another ladder truck and then just sell it in 3 years? Is that what you're saying?
It'll probably take us 4 years to get that one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to item C, City Attorney's report, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. I just want to take this time again to recognize the police department. Since last summer, they have really stepped up enforcement of investigating and prosecuting animal cruelty and animal neglect cases. And in conjunction with that, the police department has also been pursuing a separate action. So when someone is charged with animal cruelty or animal neglect, the city also is able to utilize a civil procedure to have that particular animal or animals. In one case, we had over 18 animals that were being neglected at a particular address. We were able to pursue a civil forfeiture action, which requires the defendant or defendants to be served with a complaint for civil forfeiture, and then a hearing is conducted by the 38th District Court Judge, Judge Galen. And in fact, we have 3 of those very hearings up tomorrow. So again, I just want to recognize the police department that they are taking that very seriously. And I just, we've sent our status report. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that or any other questions. Thank you.
Any questions? All right, we'll move on to new business. Item A, Fire Code update to 2021 version of the International Fire Code. Did anyone want to make a motion or open up this?
I'll move, Mr. Mayor, that we approve adoption of the 2021 International Fire Code into City Ordinance Section 20-19.
I'll second.
Any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadley?
Yes.
Moving on to item B, approval of the ribbon cutting ceremony for Lakeshore Dental 18501 East 8 Mile Road for Thursday, March 7, 2024.
So moved.
Second that.
All right, please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
We have item C, removal of commission member from Parks Commission. We did receive a recommendation to remove a member for non-attendance to the Parks Commission meetings. That letter was from the Parks Commission. We don't have, I know we have one member from Parks here. Is Ms. Easley here today? Okay, just calling it out to make sure she's not present. Would anyone like to make a motion regarding this?
Yes, thank you. I would move that the council takes the recommendation for the removal of one of their members. I will not say their name. I don't think it's necessary. They know who it is. We know who it is.
Yeah.
I have a problem of saying a person's name because we don't know if they're going through some traumatic things at home, a death in the family, divorce, losing their job. So just suffice to say that we would move, approve the recommendation for the removal of one of their members.
Second that.
Okay, and that's fine with you, Rich?
It is, the person is identified on the agenda, so members of the public will be able to see that, and that is consistent with past practice as well.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Moving on to item D, reappointments by mayor with concurrence of city council to the Parks Commission. There are two reappointments identified in the agenda packet, which are Gary Sasek and Elizabeth Percola. I would actually also like to put forth Betty Bishop. I know that I spoke to her. She's been to the commission meetings. She's been attending them. She told me that she did want to be reappointed to the position, but my understanding is an application. She didn't refill out an application, which is why she wasn't included in the packet. So I'd like to add her name to the list with a term expiring July 31st, 2025.
Just had a quick question about that, though, Mr. Mayor. I thought we had a discussion a while back to try and do these October 15th dates, and I think instead of July,
I don't have an issue changing it. I noticed that they were off a little bit, which is odd.
Yeah, it was kind of a complicated discussion, I think, when we had it, but I think October 15th was the new date, at least, that a majority of council agreed on. So I would just suggest all these new appointments just be October 15th that same year. Yeah.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to confirm those appointments with that date change?
So moved.
I'll second that.
And to be clear, I think that would be Mr. Sazak expiring October 15, 2025, Ms. Percola, October 15, 2026, so they're staggered, and then Betty Bishop, October 15, 2025.
Second that.
Okay. And any other questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Moving on to payroll and bills, would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $1,416,643.28.
So moved.
And are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld,
Yes. Moving on to the second hearing of the public, which is open. Would anyone like to be heard?
Still me. So for anyone who's tuning in late, I will repeat again, since we're coming up on Easter, do not buy bunnies, chicks, or ducks for Easter. Actually, the gentleman who spoke after I did I literally had to write out as fast as I could a one-page care instruction sheet for the proper care of rabbits. They are not cheap, not at all, not by a long shot. And the more that science has advanced, the higher the vet bills are going. And rabbits with proper care can easily live to 10 years. They can even live to 12 years. Once in a blue moon, they might make it to 14 years. I have 2 senior rescue rabbits that I absolutely adore, and they are both 11. Rabbits at the age of 5, that's when they hit their senior years. My babies are basically geriatric at this point. And like with humans, the older you get, there's going to be more issues. So it's important not only that humans, as we age, we take the best care that we possibly can of ourselves, so we're not constantly in and out of the doctor's office. But with bunnies, cats, dogs, they age and they require more care. They can end up with arthritis and issues with their legs and their backs. And the vet visits are not cheap. The medication is not cheap. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't trade my rabbits for the world. They're worth every penny and then some. So I'm really trying to drive that message home hard and heavy. You really got to think about it. If you're going to take a rabbit on, I'm not kidding, they are for life. If you're not going to commit, and the same goes for any other animal, don't have one. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else wish to give?
Mary Hall Rayford, again, I forgot to say what time this event was for Saturday. It's from 11 to 2. And I heard a really great presentation last week about leadership and listening, and I just wanted to share a few words of that. When we listen, we should question what we don't understand to get clarity. Listening skills are extremely important. Some people listen just to respond. Some people listen to actually hear what a person is saying. And one of the things I think that we miss with some people is that we don't always give a person a chance to say what's on their mind. I was in an activity in which we had 4 minutes to do the activity, and this was after being presented with the listening skills. I never got a chance to say a word because the person thought it was more important for them to talk. This is why we miss people sometimes. We miss having stabilized relationships because we're not willing to listen to people. So I would encourage everyone to sharpen their listening skills and please listen to what people have to say. Don't assume that you're the only one that has anything to say or that what you have to say matters more than anyone else. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Council Gary Sasek, and I would like to thank you for my reappointment. I've been very active on the Parks Commission since December of 2018. Literally have been the chairman all of those years. And one of my pet projects when we were building Roxana Park was driving out to Clay Township multiple times a week and reaching out to the people there because of a splash pad I had seen there. And having lived in this city as long as I have, my kids had the swimming pool. So I know what we lost when we lost it, but I understand why we had to. And a splash pad truly is the most economical way to have a water feature in a community and lessen liability. So I am super stoked to see this project move on. Thank you again.
Thank you. Would anyone else wish to hear? All right. Seeing none, the second hearing of the public is closed. We'll move on to mayor and council reports. We'll start with Councilman Baker.
Thank you. I have nothing tonight.
All right. Councilman Curley.
Well, thank you. Exciting meeting. A splash pad, coming very close to another basketball court, which we dearly need. It was very positive. I'm so happy. I'm going to leave here with a big smile on my face. Now, here's what I want everybody to do. Everybody that's here, everybody that's watching, if there's anybody left, what I want you to do is go home, look in the mirror, and think about the fact that you're one of a kind. The fact that you're the only one of all that makeup of what you have. There's no one better. And give yourself a hug. Love yourself. However, if you have a time that you're down and out, there is someone that is watching over us, and he loves you, and he's watching your back. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bichetta.
I'm very excited about the Parks and Rec program as well. The programs sound amazing, and I know the kids really enjoy them, and the splash pad is very exciting. Looking forward to seeing the new fire truck too. That'll be great. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Monaco.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, on the splash pad, you said $300,000 match from Rare. Awesome. Yeah, and for the 1.5 million for the splash pad, very exciting. Yes, this will be a great project. As Gary said, as everyone else said, I'm very excited about it too. And congrats on being reappointed. Thank you for doing all the work you do there, and for Elizabeth and Betty being reappointed. We've got a great group there. Just wanted to mention, I think the resident is not out here in the audience any longer, but just wanted to talk for just a second about lead service lines. We have received $10 million from the state to continue working on the lead service lines. You know, we're working, I think, very fast. You know, obviously I wish it could be done overnight, but that's not possible. We have hundreds left to replace, but we do have, I'd say, basically all of the funding in place to replace them all. So the time will come where there will be zero lead lines in Eastpointe. It's not too far away, but we do have the funding, and you know, 10 million is not a small amount. That might be, it probably is pretty close to what we're getting for 9 Mile, which is the whole separate amount, and that's federal funding. All these different funding sources have to be used for certain things. And let's see. And speaking of the 9 Mile Road Diet, thank you again for some residents coming out and speaking. I do want to hear from everybody, pro or con, on the issue. And just in reference to at least Facebook recently, and I know it's only a small select few, but if we can just try to talk about the attributes of the plan and not be angry or mean with people, I think that'll work out better in the end. And you can't really say for any issue. I think a lot of people have said this, in the past, like, how come you're not listening to the majority? But that's how our representative democracy works. Nobody ever knows what the actual majority of an issue is unless it is on a ballot. You'd have to poll all 27,000 plus registered voters in the city to really know. If 100 people do come out and speak against, that's a lot, but there are 26,900 other registered voters in the community. So, as I guess Mr. Lamoa out here? No, he said earlier, he was quoting me on Facebook, we've got to take all of that information and come up with what we think is going to be best for the community. Do we know all, could it be that 26,900 other residents are against it also? Could they be for it? We talked to as many people as possible, but I'm guessing nobody up here on council has talked to every single registered voter in the entire community. So it is hard to say, and we just got to make our best judgment. That's what I hope any legislative body does in any community. And just one specific thing too about the 9 Mile construction, which I think Ms. Homan, thank you for talking about. Was the construction happening right now? Would have happened regardless of if there is a road diet or not. We need to replace the water mains going across. As she said, there's 12 spots where that happens. And of course, construction is tough all the time. So just please be patient with them, and at least don't blame the road diet at this point. If you're blaming the road diet, this current construction is basically unrelated to what happened either way. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. First, I just want to say, and kind of repeat, thank you to our clerks. I know that they're always very stressed during election time. So I really appreciate all the hard work they put into our elections and help them go off smoothly. Just wanted to say about the splash pad. I remember Mr. Sasek, I think he sent me the plans he went to other cities, got plans for a splash pad. It's something we've been thinking about for, I want to say at least 5 years now or so, or it's been a discussion. We lost our pool after 2008, and it'd be great to have a pool back, but we can't afford to staff one. So I think this is a really great thing to bring a water feature back. So, and I'm not just saying this because I know her. I know that the senator's office, our local senator, helped with trying to get that application in to basically get us the most points we could to really come through getting that grant. So I'm really excited about that. And with that, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion that we go into closed session for attorney-client privilege relating to the Hall Rayford v. Owens lawsuit.
Is there support? All right. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley? Yes. Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes. And we'll adjourn to go into closed session at 8:22. Michigan. Going back into the meeting at 8:32 p.m. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that we follow the city attorney's recommendation.
All right, motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Curley. Yes. Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes. And lastly, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Oops. Councilmember Curley?
That's a
Councilmember,
yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico?
Yes.
Mayor Kleinfeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Shadlick?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned at 8:32.